Super Tuesday is tomorrow. 854 Republican and 1,420 Democrat delegates are in play. 15 states and 1 U.S. territory are voting. California and Texas are likely to garner the most attention, with the largest number of delegates up for grabs. CBS News Chief Washington correspondent Major Garrett is here with us in Studio 57 with a preview of the Super Tuesday contest. He's normally in D.C., so we're so happy to have him here.
Happy to be here in New York.
So, normally I get excited about Super Tuesday. It's very interesting. Like, this is where the rubber meets the road. But I feel like, based on the polling, I mean, I don't even know if I should.
And past history, yes. Trump and Biden are going to win tomorrow. Okay. That's not. We're not waiting to say, oh, who's going to win?
No need for popcorn.
Right. There is no built-in drama there. There are subplots that are worth looking at. So, Virginia and North Carolina vote tomorrow. Virginia has turned bluer over the years, North Carolina redder. Are there any trend lines in Virginia or North Carolina turnout-wise that are either problematic for Trump in North Carolina, which he's won twice, or Biden in Virginia, which he won in 2020? That's one of the subplots I'm looking at. Overall turnout nationwide, because everyone has seen the trend line of this election, knowing that this is essentially going to ratify the general election, will turnout be down. It was kind of low in California in early voting. California has a very contested primary in the Senate race to succeed Dianne Feinstein. So what is turnout nationwide tomorrow? That's also going to be an indicator of where people are, because every time there's a primary election, especially when there's going to be a rematch, as we're going to have in 2024, the Biden and Trump campaigns know who voted in 2020, and then they're going to look at the primary turnout, find out, okay, those are the ones who are really committed, and then build out from there. So turnout's also a subplot tomorrow.
So over the weekend, Major, as you know, Nikki Haley hinted, she didn't sort of outright say it, that she doesn't feel bound by the GOP loyalty pledge, which said that she would support whoever the GOP nominee is. Can she continue? What are you hearing from people who are big donors who are giving to her campaign about the possibility of continuing past Super Tuesday?
So she has some big donors, and she has a decent number of grassroots donors. I mean, she raised $12 million in February. That's not a stratospheric amount of money, but it keeps you going. It keeps fuel in the plane, and that's what keeps campaigns going. Campaigns don't end because someone running for president wakes up one morning and says, you know, I'm not ambitious anymore. It ends because you don't have any money. So as long as there's some people who say, Nikki, even if you're not winning, I want you to stay to make the point. I want you to stay and be a voice for those in the Republican Party, small though we may be, that we're not on the Trump train. And we want a different voice in a Republican Party conversation. As long as some big donors and a sufficient number of small donors keep writing her checks, she can do that.
All the way to the convention? I mean, are there rules for this?
Oh, well, sure, you can stay in all the way. I mean, look, she won her first primary over the weekend. She won the District of Columbia. She first Republican woman ever to win a primary nominating contest. It's not going to springboard her in any particularly profound direction, but it's not nothing. So, and she's going to lose almost all the contests tomorrow, and she will have a moment where she'll have to say, okay, why am I here, and what is this conversation still about? Is it about the future of the Republican Party in 2028? Because really, that's all she has left to discuss. She's not going to be the nominee in 2024, absent a huge health issue for the former president, and he drops out.
Legal issue?
Or a huge legal issue that somehow blocks him from becoming the nominee in July, and that's harder and harder to see. The court cases simply aren't lining up that way, and even if he loses one, let's say here in New York, with Alvin Bragg's case, there'll be an appeal on that. So,
but can I just ask, Major, before we talk about the polling for Trump and Biden, these primary voters, when people look at the state of the race and they say, well, the Republican Party is now Trump's Republican Party, who are these primary voters, and what does that mean to the question that you have coming up about the general election when it comes to the entire country going to the polls?
So the Republican Party has become more Trump-aligned since 2016. That is an absolute fact. At the state party level and at the Republican National Committee level, Trump is trying to put some actual people in the Republican National Committee that are absolute loyalists. But even if he didn't do that, it would still be more oriented to him now than it was in 2016. So the Republican Party is getting hotter for Trump. No question about that. But is it getting larger? That's what I'm talking about, turnout. Is there... And we saw this in the Michigan primary. Even though Trump won, there were a couple of places, Grand Rapids, Michigan, a suburb that Trump needs to win to carry that state. A little softer for Trump, stronger for Haley. Those suburban and exurban neighborhoods in America, suburbs right near cities, exurbs just outside of suburbs, is where the 2020 election was decided. Biden beat Trump in all those places, or most of them. If Trump can't win those back, he has a very hard time to, whatever the polls say, to win a general election and assemble the right electoral vote coalition. So suburbs and exurbs are where this election will be decided. It was in 2020. If we're going to have a rematch, that's the place to watch.
Quickly, I'll ask you about this new CBS polling. It shows Biden would lose to Donald Trump in a hypothetical matchup. I think it's just 4 percentage points. What do we make of that?
That Trump is still ahead. Now, if you test Haley and allow those things, she's farther ahead of Biden, which is one of her arguments. But Trump is going to win tomorrow, and he's on path to become the nominee of the Republican Party. So this is a conversation about the one thing that works for Trump is that he is the challenger, he's the incumbent, and he's the victim. Because of the legal issues.
Right.
Now, not all Americans perceive him as a victim, but many Republicans do. Even lightly attached Trump supporters do. And that's really a matrix that Trump has used to great advantage throughout this process. I was president, you liked it. I'm the challenger, so I'm new, I'm change. And they're coming after me.
Yeah.
They must be scared of me. They're coming after me. So those things all work at a sort of very potent electoral level for Trump. Is it enough? We don't know yet. But it's enough to get the nomination, and you can't become president unless you become the nominee.
Right.
Good point. Major Garrett, great having you in studio, my friend.
Yeah.
Thank
Always
you
a
very
pleasure.
much.
Thanks.
Stick with CBS News Streaming for Super Tuesday coverage all day tomorrow. There may be a twist. No, there probably won't be. Including a 1-hour America Decides starting at 5 p.m. Eastern and 2 hours of special coverage from our Major Garrett from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah, you got Major.
I know.
So it doesn't matter.
So
it's going to be good.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
Yeah.